This fall is cozy vampire season, at least for me. I don't know about you. As I was getting my TBR together for the upcoming months, I noticed that a lot of my books had an unintentional common theme. Vampires. Vampires are always a good time and there is so much lore, so I'm stoked. I just wanted to go over some of the books that I am most excited to get to for the fall. The Twilight series. I've already started tabbing it, so just ignore that part. This will be my first time reading the Twilight series, and I wanted to do that because it's going to be the 20th anniversary this fall. I have seen all the movies, but I've never read the books. I have a bunch of friends, a ton of people I know that as soon as I mentioned that I was going to be reading Twilight for the first time, they were really excited because they had all read the books back when they came out, or at least when they were younger. Let me know in the comments below if you're Team Edward, Team Jacob, or Team Charlie. A lot of people said back when they first read these books, they were either Team Jacob or Team Edward, but now they are definitely Team Charlie. I'm really excited about these. I can't get the book out. Hold the phone. I don't want all of them. I literally just want the first one. The Sookie Stackhouse series, also known as the True Blood series. Back when I was still living in my hometown in Tennessee, there was a group of us that would get together every single Sunday and we would watch True Blood when it first premiered. We never finished it. We all just kind of stopped watching it. I don't remember when exactly we stopped watching it. I just remember it was something, there was a big moment with Bill. Maybe it was because we all got busy. I don't know. But all I do know is that I would like to start rewatching it at some point. So I think I'm going to maybe start that this fall. I'd like to finish the series. And I figured, what better time to read the Sookie Stackhouse series while I'm thinking about restarting True Blood and it's vampires, and it's fall. It's a perfect trifecta. Much like Twilight, this will also be an entire series reading vlog. There's 13 books in this series. I'm excited to get back to Bon Temps and see exactly how different the books are from the show, because I do know, especially at the very beginning, there was one major thing that the show did differently than the books. So I feel like in book one, I'm probably already going to be upset about a certain character. If you know, you know. But I guess we'll find out when I get there. I just got this book in yesterday from a Pango order. Bless pangobooks.com. Gotten so many good deals on there. This fall, in October, I'll be reading Salem's Lot for the first time. This will be my 4th Stephen King novel in the past, really just 2 months. And I'll be reading this alongside Allie from Books with Allie over on her Twitch channel for her October 24-hour reading sprints. I will put the information in the description box below along with Allie's channel, so you guys can also grab a copy of Salem's Lot and then come join us for reading sprints. Assassin's Quest. This is the last book in the Farseer trilogy, and I'm really excited to get to this one because the second book ended not really, kind of on cliffhanger, but not really. Stuff is going down and I need to know how Fitz and everyone else is going to resolve these issues and if certain people are gonna get karma. So obviously only one of those books is not about vampires, which just goes to show that I am truly in my cozy vampire era. I don't really know if Salem's Lot would qualify as cozy vampires, but it's gonna be read in the fall. So fall is cozy. It's fine. It's adjacent. It'll be cozy adjacent. Continuing with the vampire theme, let's talk about my Magical Readathon TBR. I joined Magical Readathon for the first time back in the spring, and I chose the calling Story Weaver. This will be my 2nd semester at Aurelium Academy, and big shout out to my friend May, who I will also link their channel below, because they helped me out so much for the first semester. There's a lot of information. This readathon is so creative and there's so much to learn and so much to do. And she does such an incredible job at making this such a fun and interactive readathon. But for a first timer, it's a lot of info. So my friend May was so nice. They went in and pulled a couple of callings that they thought I might be interested in. And then once I picked one, they helped me figure out the prompts. And then from there, I figured out the books on my own, because they can't do everything for me. At some point, they had to stop holding my hand. I will say, since I'm still technically in my first year at Aurelium Academy, I'm still getting the hang of things, including how to figure out exactly how many books I was going to need for the autumn equinox semester. I'm going to be completely honest, I didn't realize at first I would need to read multiple books within a single class if that class required a grade higher than ordinary. So originally, like as in a week ago, I went to the G Drive and I looked at all of the grades required for my particular classes this fall. O in inscription, Q in psionics and divination, and a D in lore. And then I picked out my 3 books. I was very proud of myself for being able to do all of this on my own, and also a little confused as to why everybody always said that the second semester was the more intense semester and required so much more reading. I just figured I got off really lucky and that everybody else had a lot more classes than I did. I was like, I only have 3 books. This is going to be easy peasy. Clearly, that was not correct. I saw a couple other videos from people who were also building their autumn equinox Magical Readathon TBR, and it slowly dawned on me that if something required a Q, then I would need to read the first book for O and also the book for Q. And then also, if it required a D, I would need to read all 3 books. So I have since fixed that issue and collected all the required prompts. I know that the second semester of the Magical Readathon technically only runs during the month of September, but I already had some videos and books planned out for the last few months of the year, so I don't want to rush those, and I definitely don't want to rush the books that I've picked out for Magical Readathon. So I'm going to be taking my time with it. I'll be going at my own pace, and I will finish it when I finish it. Think of it like an independent study with no time limit. Plus, G's not going to come through the computer and kick me out of Aurelium Academy for doing this at my own pace. I have pulled up my TBR for Magical Readathon for the autumn equinox, and here are the books I'll be reading to complete my first year at Aurelium Academy. Hi, interrupting myself because as I was editing this, I realized I made a really big mistake. I had already realized once that I messed up as I was going through the editing and talking about like, okay, I needed a Q in psionics and divination, and I ended up picking 2 books from the Q prompt, and then I ended up picking 3 books from the D prompt for lore. Something in my head went,
I don't think that's right.
Because it wasn't. I don't know what finally made me see the light, because I went back and watched G's video and she very clearly states that if I needed a D in lore, I would have to read all 3 books, meaning the book for O, the book for Q, and then the book for D. She even calls it a progression. And I think I even say that a little earlier in this video. So I don't know what happened, but as I was editing, it just finally clicked, light bulb went off, and now I understand that I did not do my TBR correctly for the second time. So after coming to that realization, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna kind of refilm the latter half of this video, because I thought about just making a short little cut and then letting it play and filling in with little words like, to be determined, but that felt like it was going to get too confusing. So I just thought I'd refilm. I spent the weekend looking back over the prompts and actually figuring out what I needed to read, not just what I thought I needed. And I finally have my Magical Readathon TBR completely done correctly. 3rd time's the charm. So let's go ahead and get into it. Even though I already messed up 2 different times, I'm still gonna try to keep the vampire theme. And I managed to do that pretty well, I think. I have my Magical Readathon TBR pulled up, and let's just start from the beginning and we'll go through it and see what I've got to read this fall at my own pace. Because again, it's just gonna be an independent study. If I can get all of these read before the end of the year, great. If they creep into next year, that's okay. The first class I have to take is Inscription, and for this I need an O. The prompt for that one is Magic of Primes, and it needed a prime number of letters in the title of the book. I had no idea what I was going to do for this one, to be honest, because math was never my strong suit in school. I always struggled with math, and I definitely had to Google what a prime number was Plus, I had folks in the chat reminding me what it was, so thanks. But for this one, I ended up choosing Drink, Slay, Love by Sarah Beth Durst. It has 13 letters in the title, and I've actually read another book by Sarah Beth Durst. It was The Lake House. I read that earlier this year for one of my summer camp videos, and I will link that down below. I enjoyed her writing in that book, and honestly, this one just sounded really fun. It's a great title. It sounds a little goofy, so why not? My second class is psionics and divination, and for that I need a Q. And now that I understand what I'm supposed to do, here are the two books that I'm going to need for psionics and divination. The first book for the ordinary grade was a genre spin. I used the free wheel spin that G had linked in her video, and I ended up getting cyberpunk, which is one that I don't really think about that often. And I looked up the definition of this, and it really just sounds more like kind of a steampunk dystopian type of book. So I'm still not really sure what the difference is between just dystopian and cyberpunk. If you know what the difference is, please let me know, just because I'm curious. I ended up picking Bleed Them Dry by Elliot Rahal. If I'm saying the name wrong, I apologize. And this one it sounded really fun. I was excited when I got the cyberpunk genre on the wheel spin because I do enjoy dystopian books, but for some reason, it's just not one I tend to gravitate towards. Maybe we could change that in the upcoming years. The prompt for Q is Future Sight, and that's a book or a TV show with a movie adaptation. This one was easy. I ended up picking one of my Twilight books that I'm reading because all of the Twilight books, well, except for like the novella and then the companion novels like Midnight Sun, those don't have them. But that's not the point. Let's get back on track. I'm choosing Eclipse because that was one of the most recent ones that I finished. That was the easiest prompt out of all of these to fill. My next class is Lore, and the prompt for the ordinary grade was a translated book. And I struggled with this one a little bit because I really wanted to keep the vampire theme going. So it did make it a little difficult to try to find vampire books that were also translated. But I found one. I'm going to be reading the manga Vampire Hunter D, or at least the first volume, by Hideyuki Kikuchi. I googled that, and I'm very sorry if I messed up that pronunciation. This manga was actually my first choice for the cyberpunk prompt, but because it is translated, I decided to move it over to this one instead. So this one just sounded really interesting. I've just gotten into manga this year. The first one I read was Sketchy. And I actually haven't completed the series. I still have 4 volumes to go. But back to this. The whole premise for this manga is that humanity has been completely decimated by vampires. Vampires just basically took over the whole world, and they have like manufactured demons and werewolves, and the humans are they're done with it. They're over this war and they're trying to fight back now. It sounds really interesting, and I'm really glad I was able to find this. It was just kind of luck of the draw that I did end up finding it through a random Google search. So I'm really excited to start this one. Vampire Hunter D was originally written in Japanese and translated to English. So that is the first prompt for the first book checked off. This next one, I'm a little nervous about for myself. The prompt for Q was letter or notes on the cover or the inside of the book. And I watched G's video, and I watched that particular section just to see if she had any more information on that one. And she said it could be on the cover and that it could even be like chapters or something in the book that were notes or letters. That could also count. Again, she's very gracious with what works and what doesn't. She's not going to come after you for misinterpreting the prompt. She might come after you if you misinterpret completely how many books you're supposed to read. This one also took a little bit of Googling and digging and searching because I'm sure there are plenty of books out there to choose from that could fill this prompt, but I'm stubborn and I wanted them to all be vampire books. So I decided to read Dracula by Bram Stoker. And honestly, I was like, I mean, it's the ultimate vampire book, right? Who do you think of when you think vampire? You think of Dracula. And I've read Dracula before. I had a copy of it back when I had to read it for school. So it's been a hot minute since I've read Dracula. This is one I am a little bit nervous about. It is an older book. It's a long book, and it's not going to be written in the same way, especially not like Twilight. It's the complete opposite of Twilight. It's very different than what you would read in 2025. It is a classic. I've not read a classic probably since university, if we're being honest. It's not my go-to. So it's a little intimidating. From what I remember, it's pretty slow. But again, this is independent study and it gets done when it gets done. The final prompt for the D in lore that is actually required for my class is the myth of the Menace Mule, which I don't know what that is, but it requires 2 or more letter M's in the title. For that one, I had my original one picked out, which was Empire of the Vampire by J. Kristoff. From what I found out recently, this book was pretty popular a handful of years ago on BookTube. What you'll find out is I am consistently late to the game on things that are popular or new, anything like that. I'm probably like 10 years behind. It's fine. But I'm excited to read this one. This was the original pick that I had, and I was like, I'm just going to keep it. I did have 2 other options, but this one sounded fun, and it was my original pick, so that one's going to fulfill my last prompt for my classes in lore. For the last book in my Magical Readathon TBR, I am in the Archivist Guild, and our pick for that was Babel by R.F. Kuang. The only other R.F. Kuang book that I've read was Yellowface, and for the most part, I enjoyed it. I actually really enjoyed it all the way up until the end. I think the ending just kind of, it felt like a little bit of a cop-out. It felt really boring, and so that ended up dropping my overall review for it. This will be my second R.F. Kuang book, and I know people typically have mixed reactions on this one, and I also have friends that are in the Archivist Guild who won't be reading it. I'm interested to see what I think about it, and I'm pretty sure this is also a fairly large book. There are a handful of books on this list that are pretty chunky and are going to take some time, which is, again, all the more reason to not want to rush this. That's why I am going to be taking my time with it. I don't want to rush the books I had already planned out for this fall. I don't want to rush any of the books that I've picked for this TBR. So I'm just going to take my time. And I really don't want to rush a big book because I like to take my time with the big books. You kind of have to. So that is my Magical Readathon TBR, my fall TBR. And I'm really excited that there are a couple books from my fall TBR that I get to double up on in the Magical Readathon TBR. That makes it a little easier. There weren't a lot. I really think it's only just the one book. But, you know, that's better than none. When I messed up the second time, I was able to steal a couple books from not only my fall TBR, but my 25 and 25. That has since changed. At least I figured out my mistake in time because, again, while no one would have kicked me out of Aurelium Academy, I would have felt really dumb and I would have felt like I failed the semester. Technically, I think I would have because I didn't pick out the books from the correct prompts. But I figured it out, so everything is fine now. Now I just have to actually read the books. Let me know down below if you're also participating in the autumn equinox for Magical Readathon. Let me know what your calling is. Let me know if you are in the Archivist Guild as well, and if you're going to end up reading Babel. Let me know what your TBR is. Let me know if you've ever messed up this bad. I now understand why people say the second semester is a lot more difficult than the first. It all makes sense now once you do it the correct way. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe so you can stay up to date on all the videos I've got coming out, including the full series readathon, not readathon. It feels like a readathon. The full series reading vlog for Twilight. That'll be my first time reading it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.